All right. What are you drinking today, John?
I am drinking She'll Know, which is from a brand that we just released last week called Hidden Hand Brewing. It's kind of a little side project for Solemn Oath that we've got going.
I am drinking old style, which is not as delicious, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a time and place for every beer.
Hell yes. The time and place for Solemn Oath beer is right now. Thanks for joining us, John.
Yeah, thank you.
So I have to know what started all of this. And in order to find that, I need to really go to the beginning and find out what your first ever alcoholic beverage was.
Ooh, man, I would think like almost at holidays having Goldschlager shots because I felt like I was always sick around. I was always sick around the holidays, and it was my parents like attempted to like clearing out my sinuses or something. So I'd be sitting there sipping on a little shot of Goldschlager. So that
Gulch, I was really, you could not have prepared me for that answer. I thought you were going to be like, oh, holidays. My mom would get me like a sip of her champagne. And you're like, yeah, holidays. So I would do shots of Goldschlager.
I would sip. I would take my time with it. It wouldn't be
That's that's worse. For some reason, that's like so much worse. You don't sip Goldschlager. Oh, that's like saying like, I gave my child a blue motorcycle to get them to sleep.
It felt like a treat at the time. I don't know.
That's amazing. Wait, how old were you when you were drinking Goldschlager?
Oh, I don't know. This would have been. I grew up in Wisconsin. So things are different up there, and like
You won't get in trouble, I promise. We're all delinquents here.
yeah. Oh, I don't know. It'd have to be like after 10, so 10 to 12, somewhere in there.
That is amazing. Wait, so then how do you even get prepped for college? Like when girls are like, can you get me that Goldschlager vodka? And you're like, oh, yeah, that stuff that my mom used to give me as a child.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that stuff. I've been drinking that for 2 decades. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
one does, ye old motherly hacks. Give the kid Goldschlager. That's amazing. All right, so then how do you go from, I can't get over it. How do you go from drinking Goldschlager to founding, owning, operating your own brewery?
Well, like I said, I grew up in Wisconsin. It was always kind of a big beer culture up there. And when I moved to Chicago and went to DePaul University. And when I moved here, my parents actually moved to Brussels, Belgium.
Oh,
So yeah, so I got really into beer, drinking Belgian beer in Belgium. I was able to visit there quite a bit and kind of kick around Western Europe and really experience the beer culture out there. And that's where I learned what beer really was and could be. And then my skill set's always been on the more creative side, and I never homebrewed or anything like that. But I would come back to the States, and I kind of fell in love a lot with what was going on with that like second wave of craft, which is like the Stones of the world, Firestone Walker, stuff like that. And I love the communities that they were building around them, and that's where I really got hooked and decided it was something I wanted to do, and just kind of went for it. I had, like I said, no brewing experience. I started reaching out to breweries all over the country, asking questions, reaching out cold calls, cold emails, blind. And a lot of those people have become really good friends over the last 10 years that, we're coming up on 9 years of Solemn Oath, and about 11 years that I've been working on this project. And yeah, so I reached out to breweries all over the country, and um, I got back unbelievable responses. I heard back from 100% of the people that I reached out to. Some of them gave me business plans and detailed explanations as to what was wrong with them. And we just got rocking with a small little shop, and have kind of grown from there. So yeah, we that was all kicked off maybe like August 2010, and we opened our doors here in May 2012, and just have been going since.
I feel like it's a lightning speed to go from ideas to open brewery, bustling.
Yeah, yeah, just dive in. I figured worst case scenario, it crashed and burned, and I was still in my early 30s at the time. So I just start over and pick up the pieces.
Was there ever a moment where you just like looked at your name and you were like, John Barley, I obviously have to be a brewer?
Yeah, I hear it. I still hear it all the time. If it's like a stage name or anything like that, like, no, this very much chose me. So
Yeah, you were just destined for this. So you mentioned the sense of community, which is absolutely, I think one of the main reasons people go to a brewery or a pub, as much as we obviously
Sure.
love to drink the beer, we can drink the beer at home. So because obviously that sense of community is something that really means a lot to you, do you have a moment that stands out to you that you've had with a customer or just because of the brewery that you're like, yes, this is why I do it?
Ooh, the big parties, which of course I miss right now that we've had each year, because we had a very much Oath Day was one we would throw right around now. What are we, May? In a couple weeks, first week of June, we would always throw Oath Day, and that was always a real chill kind of celebration of our culture and what we've built. And it's awesome to me to think that this was just a concept at one point, and since then, people that have met here, either working and actually customers and stuff like that, have like gotten married and they've made some of their best friends within our community. And, at the end of the day, I've always liked the idea that, we make a physical thing at the end. We're not like pushing numbers across a digital page or anything like that. We're at the end of our day, like at the end of a hard week, we have all this like stuff that we then get to share with people that they're celebrating, or they're putting their feet up after a hard day's work, or they're celebrating with their friends for a promotion or for quitting and they finally did it, right? I mean, anything that they want to celebrate, we have a tool that kind of unifies that and brings them all together. So, that in general, not necessarily a specific moment, but that in general is something that I really love about the beer industry, and the hustle that we have this physical thing that people get to celebrate their lives with.
I love that point too, that you have a tangible product that has like an immediate result. Like you give someone a beer, you see, maybe there's a lot to unpack there, but you see the relief
Right.
from when somebody can just, it's not about the beer. Like obviously it is about the beer. There's the alcohol in there, but like it's about that sense of relief. And yeah, that is such a good point that you bring up, that you work in a kind of profession where it's not like you have to wait months to see the benefits of what you're doing. You get to see it right then and there and have
Right.
that connection. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. What a
Yeah.
beautiful way to think about beer. So tell me about this name, Solemn Oath. Where does it come from? What does it mean? What does it mean to you?
Solemn Oath itself is, a lot of people are familiar with John Barleycorn. There's bars here in Chicagoland, and it originates from a Robert Burns poem where it was actually three kings swore a solemn oath that John Barleycorn must die. So they personified the grain in the poem. They vowed to cut it down, kill it, make bread, and provide food for their families. And we just view that as beer.
Yeah, you just made the bread more liquidy and ferment a little longer.
Exact same thing. It's just in liquid form.
Yeah, turns out our daily bread is just beer, and that's we've been provided for. Um, I saw on your site as I was doing my little research that you had like this whole category of like social media themed beers that are named after like comments. Can you tell me about the origin of that, where that came from?
We come out with two and sometimes three beers in a given week, so we're always looking for creative ways to make a little bit of spark of inspiration or some fun inside jokes with the names of the beers. But we've been working since we opened up with our illustrator Jordan Gullett, who's really brought all these beers aesthetically to life. And we had come up with the concept at one point. I can't even remember. I think it was like on a Slack or something like that, where 50,000 comments before midnight. And it was just the idea of you wake up in the middle of the night, look over your phone, and there's like 1,000 notifications. And it's like, the people that seek the viral and I want to be justified that way. Like, did I make it or did I say something terrible and screw up? So that moment when you first glance at the phone where it's like, I'm either big time and one of those influencers now, or I'm done. So
Or
we
you're a psychopath who sees both as a plus.
Right. There's true. Yeah, there's definitely a for that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, we did like we did a Bitcoin. We did Manic Pixie Crypto Warrior, where it was like a Bitcoin beer. Had little diamond hands on it for the GameStop crowd. And but yeah, we're just looking at new ways to make it fun and interesting for us all the time too. And one of the outlets for that is our name, and the beer names, and one of the outlets for that is the art itself. And we're trying to have fun just like everybody else, and this is one way we choose to do it.
I'm glad you brought up the art, because I was looking and was like, man, like, obviously a lot of breweries put a lot of effort into the stuff that goes on their cans, but
Oh, yeah.
looking at your website is like looking at some sort of comic book graphic novel that it feels like being on mushrooms sober, but in like an awesome way. So can you tell me a bit about your artist and how he comes up with these concepts and what goes into all of that?
Yeah, we take some different avenues. I've got a whole bunch of cans actually right in front of me right now. Here's the one you were just talking about with 50,000 comments actually with um,
Yeah,
someone
look at those
waking
colors.
someone waking up next to their phone going off constantly, and this is the monster that's either good or bad, like you said, depending on how you look at it. But we've created miniature storylines within. We do some stuff where it's more chaotic, like something like that. And then we have some simpler, more elegant styles as well. But we've been working with Jordan Gullett since the beginning. He's an illustrator. He has here I can show you actually. I don't know if getting up is appropriate.
Yeah, show me the things.
City Water, for example, which is our hard seltzer brand. Everything is pencil and paper on vellum paper. You can see, every illustration that we've ever done, we have like an original illustration on it. The idea with City Water is, you have all these different hard seltzer brands that are all fruit based and very floral, and their can designs and stuff like that. And we wanted to do something a little more us. So it was like fire hydrants, sewer caps. There's like a pigeon. There's squirrels. All sorts of things that are a little bit more city. Is kind of our whole approach with it. But yeah, Jordan's a genius. We always say he must have the most terrifying dreams because of some of the stuff that he comes up with. But it's always been a core piece, even when we've done like draft only beers that we haven't packaged because we didn't start canning until 2016. But we used to create these full brands. It was like creating art for ourselves because nobody really had an outlet to see it. It was like we were draft only for the first few years, and we would create all this artwork for stuff that they would never see. But it's always been a core piece of who we are. For me, creating that aesthetic and having someone that's talented bring it to life like that has always been a way to make it feel more real. Prior to that, it's just a name or words on a page, and we bring it to life, and it takes on a little personality of its own. And how does it fit into the Solemn community that we're trying to build? So, the visuals have always been a huge part, and with us and with art, like I said, we have 2 and 3 beers right now that we're coming out with pretty much every single week, and those are full illustrations and full. You can only imagine the annual pace of hundreds and hundreds of pencil drawings and full labels and all the sorts of different stuff that we do on a regular basis. So it's a big part of our business and a big part of what we'll always be.
Would you ever consider, because when I look at that artwork, it's so beautiful and so like loud almost. I want to put it on a t-shirt. Would you guys ever do like merch of like your favorite beers that you can like wear your favorite logo?
Yeah, we've got a merch shop on our website that where you can snag tees and different illustrations. We change them up every 4 or 6 weeks. All the different drawings that we have on there. Some of them are beer specific, some of them are Solemn specific. But yeah, we've always had a ton of merch that we've gone through.
Love that. I also want to talk about these two things. First, the fact that you guys have these domes, which are wonderful, and I love that you're following the CDC guidelines, and like you can drink and have that peace of mind. But I also very much appreciate the fact that on your website, you basically have step-by-step instructions for how this works, which is great for people with social anxiety or just people that are like, what's happening anymore? I don't want to show up to this brewery and feel like an idiot because everything works a little bit differently. So I very much appreciate you come in, you wear a mask, we're doing this, you go up to the bar, this is how this works, this step-by-step instructions. But talk to me about these domes and getting them in and what that whole process was like.
Yeah, so with the new guidelines and everything, we were able to last summer we were able to expand our outdoor patio. We went from about a 800 square foot patio or so to 4,000. Our original patio is actually now the well spaced out area with which you stand in line to get your beer, is our old original patio, and now we have this expansive space. Just built a huge beer garden with the support of our of our city and took over a big chunk of our parking lot. But yeah, over the winter we brought in 12 domes, and we had the Solemn Community Dome Forest where we brought in all these fake trees and all sorts of different stuff to make it feel like a kind of Scandinavian vibe. We had little lights that were twinkling in different ways, so it would give it almost a aurora borealis type effect. And yeah, we wanted to give people a place to be able to come and have that community that we had mentioned, and like you said, we take every step we could in the process to make sure they were clean between every single party. Make sure we were going reservation only, where people were spaced out. All our tables are for the most part 12 and almost 15 feet apart. And then as we've rolled into this spring, we took that dome forest down and have rebooted it as Solemn Springs, where it's got like this Coachella, Palm Springs type vibe. We're waiting for final frost, which I'm not falling for fake spring right now. We're waiting for one more to come through,
Happy May.
and yeah, so that we can get our we have all these real plants on order that are just waiting for us to pick them up. We don't want to put them outside before, so they all die the week we put them up. But it's got there's like sand. There's we've had fire pits for a while, but we've got two kind of chairs out, circle fire pits, a lot of tables and space for everybody to kind of run around. There's like desert rocks and boulders. We were buying boulders by the ton to give it a little bit different feel and kind of give it that Joshua Tree type atmosphere a little bit. Which, if anybody needs a boulder guy, they can hit me up because I've got one apparently now. But
Who's your boulder guy? But my guy can beat his price.
yeah. Well, like after whenever fall or winter kicks in and we take this down, I was like, what are we gonna do with all these rocks? Like now we have thousands and thousands of pounds of rocks, and I don't know. We've got a gravel parking lot. Maybe we'll do some fanciful stuff over there and repave.
You have a whole artist. All you got to do is do like customer of the month, have him put a face of that customer on the rock, and then it can be you rock.
There you go. Oof, stolen. Taking that one.
Do it. Can't be stolen if it's given freely. All right, so what do you guys have on the docket for 2021? Obviously, we have boulders to look forward to, and we have plants to look forward to. But what's coming for Solemn?
Like I said, we just launched Hidden Hand, which is something that people should seek out. It's available here at the brewery. It's available at some bottle shops around town, but a little bit different approach. We're doing beer here's one of them right here. It's called She'll Know. But Hidden Hand Brewing, the logo looks like this. But we're doing a little bit different. We're doing these what we're calling beer seasons, where we're developing these little narratives. This first one is a little Alice in Wonderland themed, and you can feel the Salvador Dali vibes too, a little bit of trippiness. But yeah, it's a new project that we've been working on for quite a while, headed up by our director of operations, JP Vanderveen. He's our head brewer here, and primarily hop focused, at least to start, and all sorts of different IPAs that we're bringing out fresh every 3 or 4 weeks or so. So that's definitely coming up. We also have our first wild and sours that are going to be dropping in the next month or so. That's under a new brand that we're developing called Dust Music, which is a little bit of a Beastie Boys throwback. So
nice.
Yeah, we've got a lot of projects. We also have a tap room build out in Logan Square that's finishing right now, and we should be open in the next 4 weeks or so.
Ooh, keep an eye out, Logan Square.
Yeah, so we've got it's our first kind of branch into the city a little bit from out here in Naperville, and we're excited to bring a little bit of our culture and develop a new one in that community as well. So we're pumped for this year. We're tired, but hustling and doing some rad stuff. So I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. Is there anything that you feel we didn't touch on that you want to get out into the ether?
No. I mean, on our hard seltzer side, on City Water, if you haven't seen it out there, I would just keep an eye out because it'll only be available for a limited time. But we did a collaboration with Run the Jewels. That is a pink lemonade hard seltzer that's available now. It's in 16 ounce cans. but that's around town and flying fast. So that's a collab that's going to be around through October for right now. So keep an eye out. It's our drink of the summer for sure. So
Something about that makes me want to actually pay attention to these horse races going on. Like I want to drink a pink lemonade cider or seltzer rather, and I want to like watch a horse running and be like, yes, this, I don't know. They always have weird names. This corner squat rack. That's my number one pick. The odds are great. Have you tried this pink lemonade hard seltzer? That's going to be amazing. It's going to make me feel bougie and I'm ready for it.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Absolutely.